Hi, I'm Heidi, and this is Genuinely Heidi. Okay, hear me out. I want to talk about gravity. Just starting out about gravity. The video isn't really about gravity. But, gravity seems like it would make it, so that we wouldn't be able to fly because, it kind of pulls us to the ground, right? But we have airplanes, so we can fly. And when the Wright brothers were creating the airplane, they didn't manage to do so by ignoring gravity or by denying its impact on them or by, anything else like that, basically. Anyway, no, the only way the Wright brothers could make an airplane was by learning about gravity and working within its limits, working within it with gravity to create lift and make an airplane so they could fly. And the reason I bring that up is because we seem to think that we can make our emotions go away by ignoring them or by denying their impact that they're having on us, and it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. That doesn't get rid of emotions. That doesn't get rid of their impact. They're still there. But you can do a lot in your life when you learn about them and work with them. Then, because they're a necessary part of life. They're there for a reason. Our nervous system is pretty impressive. We've got neurons. I didn't actually look up how many, but a lot of them. We got a lot of neurons, and they tell us, where each body part is, if my arm is out here or if my arm is up here, I don't know. They tell you, that's called proprioception. They tell you if something's wrong. They give you a signal of pain if something's wrong, and different kinds of pain can mean different things. In other words, our body is able to send us messages about what's up, what we need, everything like that. But we gotta be able to listen to those messages. And our emotions are a similar kind of thing where they tell us what we need and how we're actually doing, mentally and internally, as a person. And so you may have heard in psychology a term called acceptance and commitment therapy. I don't know if they call it therapy. Okay. Let me pause right here just to mention one thing that I forgot to mention another time is that I am not a professional. I'm not a professional in really anything, but I'm just making these videos as somebody who experiences a lot of emotions and, has done a lot of emotional processing and just has hyperfixated on emotions for, over a decade. So, anyway. So, that. Anyway, but that's basically everything I've been talking about. That's basically the idea behind acceptance. In that kind of acceptance of your emotions is it's accepting that they are there, accepting letting yourself recognize what they feel like, letting yourself recognize the impact they are having on you. And that will make it so you're able to do something about your situation and about your circumstances. And listening to and acting on the messages that your emotions are giving you will help your emotional regulation. So the acceptance is one part of it. I once had a counselor who mentioned acceptance as being like is like, you know, if you have a flower garden but it's got weeds, like seeing the flowers, you know, and like recognizing that there's still beauty even if there are weeds as well, you know. Because nothing's ever going to be perfect, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be beautiful. And it's important to recognize that. Anyway, so that's the acceptance part of acceptance and commitment. And commitment is just, what am I going to do about it? And once again, you know, just saying, oh, what am I going to do about it? I'm going to change this emotion, you know. If you're trying to directly address the emotion like that instead of actually what's causing the emotion, that's not going to solve anything. That's just going back to not accepting. Nah, the commitment part is more like, how are you going to act on what it is you need? And honestly, the commitment part will not happen and will not be as impactful if you try and do something big. It'll be a lot more likely to happen, and thus a lot more likely to actually do something in your life if you go with something small, but that you can do, that you are sure you can do. Like, think of like the low, like as something small you can do, and then make it smaller, and then you can definitely do it. And that's the sort of thing that will actually have an impact on your life. The reason I wanted to talk about acceptance and commitment today is because that's pretty much the foundation of what emotional processing is. Accepting, acknowledging your emotions, and then deciding something small that you're going to do about it. So, I guess I'll leave you with that for today. But yeah, thanks and take care.